had a little too much ice cream for how early in the morning it is.
Yeah, you caught me off guard with that. How does this mic sound? I can't hear myself. I don't have plug-in headphones. I only have AirPods to hear you.
You sound. I mean, like you sound a little. In your. Are you dying of pollen? Do you have like
Me?
cold? Yeah.
Hello,
you're
test.
a little
No,
raspy.
I
don't know.
I think my
Or
voice sounds
maybe
okay.
I'm just like. No, I think you sound great.
Okay, this is a J-Buds microphone, a brand I'm not familiar with, and it came with a stupid USB Type A to USB-C cable, so I was panicking last minute. Can you tell I got my haircut yesterday? Very nice gentleman.
I actually cannot know.
Okay, it's fine.
This is. I guess it is. Yeah, it is shorter.
Yeah.
It is shorter. You're looking great. For everyone that hasn't seen Sam, he has 900 different views. He has 900 different haircuts. He does not have a set hairstyle. I don't know about you. I am me. What are you doing? Are you making?
I'm making a
the
coffee.
God damn it. You're supposed to do that before.
I know,
could
but
still be
like I
eating
said, I
ice
was
cream.
panicking
Okay, so
because of this cable situation.
It's been what I would call a strange week for me, emotionally, personally, in my vibe. My vibe has been odd, and therefore, I decided to try treating that with a little bit of ice cream. I didn't want to
that's
have.
lovely. That's a great way to treat it.
There was like last week when I rolled in and I was like, "Hi, my name's Daniel, and I'm here to talk to you about photography or whatever," right? Like, I was tired last week. I didn't want that to happen today. So I had my coffee, have more coffee coming my way into soon to be in my body. And then I was like, you know what? Let's add a little sugar on that. Let's have a little sugar. So I poured some Ben & Jerry's pistachio ice cream onto my vibes. And you know what? They're pretty good.
That is called an affogato, yes? When ice cream is on a coffee.
Oh my God, have you had an affogato?
Yeah, there's a wonderful place in Fells Point, actually.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Ceremony? Is it Ceremony?
No, it's something else.
I was
Yeah,
trying to
something
be
with a
cool and know something.
Ceremony is a great place. I used to get a lot of work done there. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I haven't done a workshop since last year, and that workshop it did sell out 2 days worth, but it was mostly one big studio of photographers that was like all under one umbrella. The owner of the photography studio really likes me, and he took my workshop years ago in Chicago, probably like 2013 or something. So he like made sure all of his employees signed up. So that was a nice thing last year. But before that, I hadn't done a full workshop where it's like 100% on me to promote it and get it, all the logistics figured out and everything. I haven't done one since like 2019. So I was a little nervous, especially Asheville, North Carolina. It's a tiny little place,
But it's also
and it's sold out.
It's very cool.
I'm so glad. It is very cool. They've got an up-and-coming tech scene I keep hearing about or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's full up. I'm really happy about that. I'm going to do a few
exciting.
more. Because I have nothing in August.
Yeah, I asked which cities you were going to do for sure, and you were like, Asheville, yes. And I don't want to spoil it if it's a secret, so I don't want to share
no
these.
secret.
It's no secret. Oh, it's Chicago, right?
Yep.
I really want to come to Chicago, but I don't know how to justify this expense. Right. So there are three things going on here. One, I don't know how to get to the Midwest to do glass meetups. Right. So we're doing a handful of glass meetups starting next month on the East Coast. We have Pacific Northwest at the beginning of August. That's a secret.
Nice.
I haven't announced that yet, but
Whoops.
August 5th, we're going to be in Seattle. August 6th, we're going to be in Portland.
Nice.
Feel free to come to. Feel free to come to Portland, Sam. You can hold a workshop in Portland.
Pop over there real fast. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've been to Portland. Yeah.
So and then I'm gonna just book a flight to LA and San Francisco sometime in the fall to hit there. And then Tom will hold the ones in Europe, so he will do one in Amsterdam, maybe one in Copenhagen, maybe one in London, and then we'll kind of like take all of that information and do what we will and, you know, help other people host their own, that sort of thing. I really want to hold one in the Midwest. So I would really love to hold one in Texas, in Austin, where my best friend Adam lives. That's an easy one. I'm going to go see him at some point, and when I'm there, I'll just be like, hello, everyone, I'm here. Let's, you know, take night photos, I guess, because you can't go outside during the day. You can't do a photo walk during the day in Austin, Texas, unless it's like December.
Yeah, so you would melt.
So we're going to like take some night photos or something. I don't know, bats. Take photos of the bats under the bridge. I don't know. That's not the important part, but I don't know how to get to like Chicago and like Minneapolis.
What do you mean? You don't know how to get there? It's an easy flight.
I know how. Right, I know it's an easy flight, but I don't have a budget for any of these things. So any flights or any things I do, I need a reason that is either me paying for it so I can write it off of my taxes, or an already planned thing that we're gonna do. Right, like East Coast doesn't matter. I'm just like going up the street to hold the one in Baltimore, or I'm hopping on a $30 Amtrak to New York to do the one in New York. Right, like this isn't. There's no struggle for a loss of a budget. That's just like a oopsie. But like flying to Chicago, spending a day or two in Chicago, that's like money, right? Like it costs money to. It costs money to exist, and I think that's bullshit. I think is what I'm saying. But I don't know how to get to the Midwest. I don't have any reason to go to the Midwest, except if my good friend Sam holds a workshop in Chicago.
You just want to piggyback off my workshop.
That's option number one. That's what's going on there. So that's why I want to get to Chicago. Also, it would be fun to attend a workshop, so then we could talk about the workshop. So I could because we can talk about it right now and be like, what's the workshop like? But me being like, haha, I have attended, right? Like I'm going to pick up on different things than what you're going to describe. So like that'd be a fun topic, and you know, like can dig in. Whew. And then thirdly, I'm a huge Chicago Cubs fan, and I want to go to a baseball game in person in Chicago. That'd be fun for me, personally.
Yeah, that's amazing. We can definitely do that. I think it'll be easy. The space that I use there, I think it'll be the same one as last year, and should not cost me anything. So that's nice. And so I'm quite sure we could make it affordable. And yeah.
Okay, well, that's exciting. Chicago, it's coming, someone. It's the worst time in the world to be in Chicago. August is like the worst time in the world to be anywhere, I think.
No, August is nice in Chicago. It's
it's so humid. I say that like Baltimore isn't a swamp as well.
Yeah. I've always had pleasant weather.
I'm a baby. I don't know why I'm a humidity baby. I moved to the jungle. I lived in the jungle for like years.
Right.
But,
yeah, that's not ideal. It's perfect weather the past couple of days in New York. It's been a really nice trip. I photographed an elopement on Monday, then came home because the next day I was supposed to do a session and they had to reschedule. So I was like, I'm going to go home for a couple of days. It was amazing. And then yesterday I came back to go to my favorite restaurant, one of my favorite restaurants. And it was lovely. If anybody here is listening and this hasn't come up, go to Luthun, Luthun. They're so small and they're so like great at what they do, but they're definitely not getting like the attention and accolades that they deserve.
How much would it cost us to hold our final meetup for the New York City part? Like we take our photos or whatever, have a little chat, and then we sit down for dinner at fancy tasting menu.
Yeah,
it's like we could book out the place. That's all right. Everyone, it is a $400 meetup.
Yeah, if people pay,
you get a coffee and fancy dinner.
Amazing dinner. I bet you they would let us use this space as a hangout space for not too much money. They're only open Thursday through Sunday. Through Sunday, I think. So
could we trade? We could trade portraits. Be like, we'll take portraits of your team.
And
I'll take very nice photos of your food.
It's an idea. I could run it by them.
Free food. I love that you know them.
Oh, I do.
They're
like family.
Good. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I love that you have your fancy restaurant in every city that you're in. I have that too, but I'm only ever in one city.
So, there you go. Oh man. So, yeah, I have a wedding tomorrow and then taking the train down to DC for a wedding on Sunday. This is a busy, busy weekend. I completely forgot that this was a holiday weekend and that people do a lot of traveling. Somebody asked me, "Oh, what are you doing for the long weekend?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Oh, yeah, Memorial Day. It's odd to be self-employed for so long because you get pretty detached from the normal cycle of when people go on trips and holidays and stuff.
Same situation, but throw in living abroad for an additional 5 years.
Yeah,
I like the Netherlands and to a certain extent Mexico are still on like Catholic holiday schedules. So you'll just, like get a surprise Catholic holiday that you've never heard of or that I haven't heard of, being not a Catholic or European. Yeah. And then it's just like, oh, cool. We're off on a Wednesday and a Thursday and a Friday for a saint.
Do they have a lot of public holidays like they do in the U.S.?
They are much better at providing their workers a wonderful slate of time off.
Right, they typically get like 3 weeks or something, but
right. So, you get August, right? Like no one. And then in the Netherlands, there's a law where you effectively get a third month's salary or a 13 months salary, where you just get it for your vacation.
Okay, that's amazing.
So you get your little bonus for your little time off, and then everyone gets most of August off. Like Stefan is coming to Portland for our meetup, our team meetup. And he couldn't find anywhere to get his dog sat in August.
Because everyone's...
And he's been working on this since the beginning of May because it's already booked out because everyone goes on vacation during this time. And so the 3 or 4 weeks that the kids are out of school is when everyone goes.
That's another thing I'm grateful for. This came up in another conversation online, and the fact that by far the best time to go on vacation, at least where we live, is February because the weather is delightful in the Caribbean and nobody else is around. I don't like being in crowded areas on vacation personally. I know some people really are energized by that, but I prefer to be in a sparsely populated, beautiful place that is the opposite time that I guess most people go on vacation.
Shall we go on a vacation in February, Sam? I understand I'm planning a lot of trips for us.
What's happening? And yes, we should. I'll take you back to Vieques. We can have our own little.
Is that your tiny island?
Yeah, that's for
tiny.
Oh, I don't think that episode made the cut on released episodes. Maybe it did, but yes, Vieques is right off the 15-minute little puddle jumper flight from Puerto Rico. So it's actually quite easy to get to, but it's just far enough that nobody goes really, unless it's for a day trip. And then they, it's not risky, but there's no hospital on the island. And so if there's any emergency services needed, they literally have to fly you over to Puerto Rico to do that.
Well, I simply just won't have any problems. I shall simply just sit
that's the goal.
There and drink rum in the pool or whatever.
That's right? What I did pretty much the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the first time. So we recorded. Sam went in February and we recorded an episode, 2 episodes while you were on vacation, and it was the first time that you showed up eating something. You rolled in. It was our 3rd episode, and he rolled in with just a big bowl of soup.
Oh yeah,
and he was just eating soup. So this is the type of seriousness that you can expect. We are soup eaters. We are ice cream eaters. We're ready to talk about photography. I'm having a weird time, and I would love to get your brain. I want your brain on this one, Sam. Your thoughts on this. So this is probably going to be more analogous for you for music than photography. I am currently on one. I am killing it. I am at the moment taking some of the best photos I've ever taken in my life. The vibe is good. The editing is great. There are like 3 or 4 things that all coincided at once that made me feel they're like setting me up for success here, right? I moved.
Well, the photo you sent me of Pancho, by the way, was quite great. I mean, a lot of that was just Pancho being cute, but it was beautifully framed, nice lighting. It was wonderful.
That's the right. Like that's the level of thing I'm talking about. I'm just you jokingly asked for a fancy photo of Pancho after he got his haircut. I'll post it to Glass so I can link it in the show notes. Everyone, here's my beautiful dog. But like it turned out good, right? That's the level. Like I'm like, oh, that's a nice little photo. Click. Oh, woohoo! So I'm like feeling it. So the things that have coincided to get us here. Moved to Baltimore. So after feeling pretty uncertain of our long-term situation with where we were living, we've finally settled down and like picked a place and are planning on staying for a really long time, which then leads to a lot of less anxiety, a lot less stress, and a little bit more time and a little bit more perspective on like how quickly we need to be doing things, what we need to be doing, and it allows me to prioritize my art a little better. So I'm a little less anxious. I have a little bit more time on my hands. The move is done. Moving and buying a house internationally is a shit show that takes a lot of energy. That energy has now returned, right? Like it's no longer this big soul-sucking thing. I have to like put together a chest of drawers. That's it. That's like my last unpacking, and then we're done, right? Like we're done. Well,
it's nice that you bought a freshly renovated place as well, so anything you need to do to it is just purely aesthetic for the most part.
Yeah, they're like minimal little things. I need to like rewire all the switches. The contractor picked the dumbest order in the world for the switches. So like the one on the left should turn on the dining room, but it turns on the kitchen light. The one on the right should turn on the stairs, but it turns on the second kitchen light. Like they're just like little dumb things like that I need to fix. But like there's no major thing, right? There's no major, I need to like save up a ton of money and put in a bunch of time to solve this problem. I just get to live for a bit, and that's great. So that's going on. Moved to Baltimore, feeling really good. Glass is in a really good spot, right? Like I would love to be growing more, but like our numbers are consistent. Our community health numbers are like through the roof. Everything's feeling great. I was lent a incredibly nice fancy ass camera by a friend, Sam. It's Sam. It's just I don't know why I said it like that. You lent me a very nice camera that is like hitting the spot for what I am looking for file wise, and like creatively it is making me shoot differently than I have before, because it's like a little bit heavier, a little bit slower, it's manual focus, therefore I have to take my time a little bit more, right? So all of these things have like combined into me just and then my previous experiences, right? So like living in Mexico is like a beautiful, messy, dusty, wonderful place. And so that is, like learning how to photograph that is a very certain way, right? Like to make mess look nice in frame is it's a skill that is hard. And it took me the 2.5 years I was living in Mexico to like really figure it out. And I kind of got it like 3 months before we moved. Same with Amsterdam. Like Amsterdam is very orderly, very rigid, very sameness, patterns, that sort of thing. And so like learning how to photograph Amsterdam really well was super helpful. And Baltimore is like a messy Amsterdam, right? Like it has that mishmash of both of those things. And so both of those, all of the photography I've done for the last 4.5 years is really helpful for photographing the current geographical location. And then throw in like it being a new place, right? So like I'm paying attention to all these little things that are gonna disappear for me, right? Right now, everything about Baltimore is new and exciting and thrilling, and all these little details are gonna like disappear from my
interesting way of looking
perspective over the next right, like once Baltimore feels like home long term, right? Like after I've been here for 2 or 3 years, there's gonna be a bunch of stuff I'm missing.
Like can't recall the last time I went out and just took random pictures of it. But that does wear off. You're right.
Right. So there's like, a thing that doesn't really exist in Amsterdam that exists here, Stoops. Right, like I grew up in the Mountain West, and then spent a lot of time in the Pacific Northwest. Like stoops aren't really a thing; it's more of like a front porch. So there's like stoops, more condensely tight people. Flags are way bigger in Baltimore than anywhere I've ever lived. So many flags.
What's up with that? I don't know with that. Yeah, it's really
like
weird.
American flags, Baltimore Oriole flags, Pride flags, Trump flags, like just flags everywhere.
I don't see many Trump flags. I do see a lot of Trump stickers on trucks still. But
yeah, your suburb living is different.
Okay.
Yeah, so like there are all these like flags and stuff, and like that's a little thing that just doesn't exist, and that's a nice little photographic pattern to notice. Hanging stoplights as opposed to posts with arms that stick out are a thing that are all over Baltimore, and I don't know why. Right, there are all these little things. I'm like, oh, look at this. And then, there's the state of disrepair and, like falling apart because the city infrastructure was poor.
Hey, they just plugged like
racism.
9,000 potholes recently. There's like this 90-day campaign to plug 9,000 or 20,000 potholes. So that's,
I love that for us.
That's something. Yeah, it's great.
That'll make my scooting around town way better. And so there are all these like little things that are all coinciding to me, like making what I feel like is some of my favorite work ever. And it's definitely feeling more like a body of work as opposed to just like shooting for individual photos. It's like a getting to know Baltimore sort of home thing. Like the little details of street photography that I'm getting to do. It's great. So
and I'm very jealous of the feeling that you have doing that. I've always struggled if I don't have a human as the subject in my pictures. I've always struggled on what I'm photographing and why. I grew up.
That was one of the reasons I was going to ask, because and one of the reasons that I said that music might be a better analogy for you than photography, because like you're, as a photographer, pretty commercial photographer, right? Like the majority of the time you're taking a picture, you're doing it in exchange for money from the person you're photographing. You're not, you're not a street photographer. You're not going to like walk out around all of New York today.
No.
Right. So like that, there's a reason that you take the photo every time. Right. And like you go forth and do that. But like, I'm assuming when you play music and when you're writing songs and when you're, doing stuff, it's.
Oh, no, that's how I make all my money is through music.
Yeah. Right. Like you're just secretly Justin Bieber or something.
I'm just a songwriter. I'm not allowed to talk about it. No.
Oh, my God. Well, you can edit that out.
The music side of things, I'm very grateful for that, because a lot of maybe we talked about this at one point when we've discussed burnout, but the process I see happen to a lot of photographers that do go more full-time, commercial or commission side with it. It almost always started, though, as a hobby, right? This whole craft of photography in their lives was exactly like what you're doing right now. They just go out and shoot whatever they want for fun, and it's completely on their terms. When that changes, though, and it becomes something for money, I would say at all feel like I get to express myself through photography. Like, I don't deal with emotional, generally, I would say most artists express themselves through negative emotions to get work through something. And maybe I express happiness as an emotion, but I don't get much healing or emotional expression in terms of sad stuff out at all through photography.
Yeah, you're not fighting any demons.
No.
with your photos of a smiling couple. Right,
right. No, if anything, it's creating a lot of demons. So, but I'm so grateful that I kind of developed as a hobby both things, basically through college. And music was really what I primarily wanted to be my job, but it just went the other way. And so already having developed a skill set in writing and recording music has been just the absolute best to fill that now void that it exists, because photography doesn't do it for me. I mean, in my early days, I did shoot similarly to the way you did, and it was a little bit more of an emotional outlet. Just walking around, it would mostly be combined with travel. First couple of years, I took photography very seriously. It all kind of orbited around 3 or 4 week trips to someplace with my best friend who's also passionate about photography. That completely went away, and I don't really use it at all now as an emotional outlet. And a lot of photographers, like I said, about year 4 or 5, I think they start to realize that's missing. This is also why when people describe me or my work as being an artist through wedding photography, I don't feel that at all. I don't see it. I don't feel it. It doesn't feel right to use that term, because there is no, for me, expression of myself coming out. It's hopefully I'm capturing my clients, but again, it's just totally different than what
it's
I would.
Production, right?
Yeah.
Like you were here to produce images of their wedding or of their relationship for their invites or their save the date, right, or their website. There's no like, okay, Sam, thank you for being here. Express your demons via our marriage, right? Like that's not a.
Well, like I said, if there is some expression happening from my side, it's in the happy thing, and for me, I don't know what it is. Can you name many very successful artists who come from a place of like pure happiness in their work? It's interesting. It almost always slants more of like they're getting through something darker, I think. Yeah. Not oh my God, everything is so great in life. I mean, maybe there's musicians and certain songs that have been written that maybe
there's that song Happy. There is the movie Happy Feet.
It wouldn't surprise me at all, though, if that song was motivated and inspired by something not happy.
Unhappy. Yeah.
Right. At its center. Who knows?
I think there are probably a couple of streamers, maybe, like just happily playing video games, which the dream. I don't really want to become
world
an
is so foreign to
play
me.
video games, though.
Cannot imagine.
Well, our current marketing plan, the next thing phase for like seeing if we can squeeze a little bit more, get our growth a little bit higher, right? Like 2 to 3% or whatever. Huzzah! Month over month is like what you expect every month from like a thriving bootstrapped business, right? Like indie businesses without money for marketing, if you're growing a couple of percent a month over month, you're doing great. I would like more than that, though, right? I personally want more than that. And
you're going to roll this into streaming somehow?
Well, right. So as we have discussed privately, now discussing publicly, we're going to try to take Instagram seriously as a channel for our platform. Nice. But the only way that kind of works is me being the face of that, of like our
I will say, it's a notable, consistently high number of click-throughs when I share a story of like the screen cap of a post on Glass with the EXIF data. That is consistently the highest clicks through to an off-site other place than almost anything else that I share. So there's certainly an interest. There's got to be an interest, at least from my audience that looks at my stories. Of
my favorite idea that I've ever had for a product thing that is never going to get built because it wouldn't actually work that well or be that great would be a proper share to Instagram button in Glass where it would like format the photo in a nice like predefined way to then publish it on your story with our like little logo in the corner.
Link back, yeah. Why can't you do that?
Well, because it won't. It's a huge engineering lift, and it won't actually end up moving the needle. Like it'll take us 2 to 3 months to build that, and it's like, what could we get in those 2 to 3 months?
Also, I think just not ethically, but the values that Glass kind of has built don't really align with like, but now go share with the anti-Glass app, right?
Yeah, there's like, so that is, how do you actively exist on a platform and market on a platform that you are just like deep in your soul against existing, right? Like, sorry, I It's bad. Instagram is bad for my brain. I know that it's bad for my brain. I feel wonderful when I don't use it for a couple of days, right? Like if you like leave Instagram for like a month and come back, I call it Instagram brain because that's what it does to my brain, right? Of like just the absurdity that like everything is like heightened a little bit. Everything is like everything's just a little bit more bananas on that app because it has to be, because an algorithm is telling it to be. And it's like, oh no, I just want to make a nice photo of a stoop. Like, let me take a photo of a flag at golden hour.
It's so funny. I came across a random reel, or maybe it was a Reddit post. I don't know. Some random, and somebody was like, the thing had like 300,000 likes. It must have been on TikTok somewhere, maybe reposted somewhere else because I'm not on TikTok. But it was like, hey everyone, just so you know, this is how you create chronological order on your Instagram feed. And it's like, you tap the Instagram logo and they let you do that. And it's like the fact that this had so much engagement as a post that existed really signals the fact that Instagram has done a poor job of teaching people or reminding them that they can go chronological. And
but it's also hidden and you can reach the end, and then suddenly you're back in the Explore feed. Here is someone, I don't know. My Explore feed is wrecked right now because I've been researching things for our upcoming push to be like on Instagram. So like the way that we have figured out that we're going to, I'm going to tackle it is me being like, hey, we've heard Instagram's great for a marketing channel. It's no longer a good photo community. If you want like a nice place to post your photos and talk about them and like be inspired, come this way. But if you want to market, you can stay here, I guess. Let's find out together.
Have you ever purchased a product through Instagram, the app?
No.
Me either. Apparently, I mean, I know it's a thing. I've seen the option to like do it, and I'm like, this is weird. I almost always will go straight to I've had plenty of ads from things that I purchased, but I always jump out to their website directly and just deal with it there. But a lot of people, it's anecdotal, but I've heard many people are like buying stuff through the Instagram app directly. Like,
it's an incredible shopping network that you get to text your friends on. It's like if iMessage was QVC.
Yeah, the power of DMs is surprising. I wonder if they ever thought that was going to be one of the most deep parts in the moat of what people have built through their social interactions. It's just the DMing
it was on purpose. Right,
do you think so? Really? I don't know. I never would have thought. Okay, well, I guess.
Well, I mean, like everything about Instagram is how do you stay on Instagram longer, right? Like how everything is built
but
for
like
that.
In the original inception, I don't know when they even launched DMing. Was it it probably wasn't in the original
It wasn't in the original, but it was pretty quick.
Well, so that's what I'm wondering, if it was just sort of like a little add-on, like, oh yeah, we should enable this, because it's not like people are, I don't know, maybe they are, but I was gonna say on Twitter, you can DM people there, but it doesn't seem like much
people use DM. It's a huge feature on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's the
Twitter's a
like
blind
DMs.
spot for me, so
DMs on Twitter are the only reason I haven't deleted my Twitter account.
Oh, okay, there you go. Well, I didn't know.
Because
I don't know anybody on Twitter.
I could just be like, hey guys, give me your number. We've been friends for a decade on this platform. We can text in real life, right? Because we could, but like that's
like a closeness barrier that is weird. You got to like get to know someone a little bit before you go to the blue.
Oh no, I do, right? Like these are people that have donated art to my like zines. I have deep relationships with these people. I just don't, because like there's that level of we're talking about the same thing at the same time, right? Like I have a close friend. I shot their wedding. We met on the internet forever ago. She followed me. I was like, oh, a cute girl followed me on the internet. And then I followed her back, and then her boyfriend followed me, and I was like, ooh, a cute boy on the internet. So I followed him and like just like adore this couple. And he complained about trying to find a wedding photographer within their budget on Twitter. And like he's also a photographer, so he was like keeping that a secret going into the meetings to see what weird pitches and weird stuff he got. And he's like, this is terrible. I'm getting nothing. And so he tweeted about how it was terrible. I was like, oh, I'll shoot it. And he was like, okay, great. And so I shot their wedding. I adore them. I see them anytime I'm in upstate New York. I have
no clue what their phone number is.
No, I have I have both of their numbers, and he and I will text pretty regularly, but like I don't know how to text Alicia, right? Like I will
Yeah.
I will DM with her all day, but like I don't know what to text her about. Be like, hey, what's up? How's your baby? Right? Like that's a weird. I don't.
Yeah, it's really funny when you have the same person having two separate conversations on each platform. That happens to me a lot. I'm like, talking to my friend Taylor through IM, and then it does happen to us.
You post like a dumb joke on stories, and I'm like, ooh, dumb joke over here, while we're like talking about like real life shit on our actual text. Yeah. It's weird. So we're going to like try a thing. The worst that happens is it is a good marketing channel, and we get more money and more members. Okay. Or we have another data point of like, hey, yeah, this actually doesn't work that well unless you spend just a shit whack of cash.
The thing, one of the reasons I asked if you thought it was like kind of stumbled into that, but it sounds, is because strangely, Facebook broke out messaging into its own separate dedicated app, and I was always very confused by that, because it seems that if there existed an Instagram DM app by itself, I would like never ever open Instagram unless I was going to post a photo or something of my own. Yeah. And it's weird to me that they broke out messaging into its own separate app. I also am often concerned that because my both my Facebook page and experience and my Instagram experience are both like the professional creator account, I don't have actually, I think, a good pulse on what most people are experiencing, because I've never had like an in-message ad. I see that as an option when you create an ad, that, hey, do you also want to have this be in people's messages? It's like, no, that's awful. That seems like it would be really, really annoying. But I've never seen them, because I think certain accounts, like business accounts, don't get the same volume of ads or the same experience as just
I didn't know that existed
free
either. I hate that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Maybe, I mean, I've seen it as an option for a long time. I was about to say maybe they haven't like rolled it out to everyone, because everything's always in stages and in test bubbles and all that, depending on your country and location and whatnot. But the option's been there as a place to pepper your ads for like over a year, maybe longer. DMs. And I assumed this. Yeah.
We're gonna add DMs and that's where we're gonna add our ads. You have to interact with this ad to read a DM. That's it. That's how Glass makes us all millionaires. At that point, we'll be making so much money, we'll make you a millionaire too. Just toss it over. Why not?
Oh, great. Thanks.
Yeah. I don't know how to build an ad network. That's like, there are like so many reasons that I have when someone's like, why don't you guys just have a free account and ads? Beyond like, we don't want to, and that sounds bad. It's like, I don't know how to build an ad network. I know how to like throw a nice party.
I know I'm such a fanboy, but the only ad network I've ever been pleasantly, like, completely on board with is Daring Fireball.
Oh my God.
His in-feed sponsored posts are just
do you follow
just great.
Daring Fireball / John Gruber on Glass? Do you follow the Grubes on Glass? You could become friends.
Yeah. I'm scared. He wouldn't like me. I'm scared he wouldn't like me.
Oh.
I don't know. I'll follow him. I think I've interacted on his stuff, but I just assume he's too busy.
We're gonna have a Philadelphia meetup, and he's gonna come, and you can come to the Philadelphia meetup.
Okay.
And you can meet him in person.
I would love
and then
that.
When you get nervous, you can kind of like just fade out into the people, you know. Woo-doo-doo.
Or I could flip it on its head and be like, "Hi, it's great. Do you know who I am?" Just kidding. So. He, though, I think, is sort of the inventor of an in-feed ad as a concept, because I'm pretty sure he was doing it on his essentially text-only blog since before Facebook monetized at all, like with any ads. And, who knows? I'm sure somebody else.
I mean, like, there were a lot of them. He had...
Yeah.
It's hard to say. There were so many, like, weird ad things that just don't exist anymore, right? You know, like, friends... I have friends who have made... over 6 figures, right? Like we're talking like over $1 million from like Google AdSense ads back in the day, right? Whoa. Like over like a couple of years, their content
when like
site,
blogging was the only thing.
Yeah, and then Google AdSense and that's bananas. That's just nuts. It is.
Yeah, that's pretty unfathomable now. Well, not to pivot too much, but I did want to get your feedback on especially now having heard how much things have changed for you in your photography.
Yeah.
Largely enabled by this Fuji camera. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on the Q3 from Leica.
Leica Q3. Well, Leica, I love you, friend of the show. Listen, my goal, I'm going to be very transparent about my goal here. My goal is to grow glass enough with the right features that by the time that Leica comes out with the Q4, they send me a tester. This is my North Star for everything that I am going to do from now until the Q4, which is 3 years away now, 4 years away now.
Yeah, their release pattern is pretty
They're
slow.
sparse. They're a Spartan release pattern, which I love. We still haven't even gotten a Q2P or whatever it is. I am not underwhelmed. I think I'm growing. As a person. I was texting with Tom about this week, and he called bullshit, which was very rude because I'm growing as a person. I was really concerned that when the Q3 came out, I was going to immediately want to sell my Q2 and replace it with the Q3 because, I would have gotten suckered in by capitalism, and I did not have that feeling. I did not go, I immediately need to replace this camera with another one.
It seems the biggest change is, I'm assuming, a new sensor and then the articulating screen. And you are not a fan of those. You really like the viewfinder anyway, it seems.
I have learned to appreciate a flippy screen, a little flippy flop screen with shooting with the Fuji GFX, in that I can understand why you would want it. It is nice for your back or whatever to not turn into Gollum trying to take a photo.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big part of it. Also, the world is just so much more visually interesting from the waist level in general. It's a nice default to start working in a more interesting way. It's one reason I'm essentially completely addicted.
You can also get an extra 2 feet by just throwing your hands up.
Yep, throw your hands up. I've been known to go full stretch, hands up in the air, and then do a little jump to just get, and shoot through the jump.
You're also taller than me, so that gets you. That's another foot or whatever.
Yeah,
we need to measure how tall you are. we need to figure this out.
My height does not change like my hair does. I'm pretty sure I'm 5'11".
Right, but I was pretty sure I'm 5'11", and you're taller than me. I was you can round up. You can be 6 foot. I always thought I was close. I don't know if I am now. I'm
Maybe
very
I had really
confused.
thick shoes on last time I saw you. No, I was wearing sandals. Oh, no, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We'll make that part of the meetups. Okay, everybody, come over here. We need to measure.
All right, tallest to the shortest. Let's go. God.
I am excited to hear and see you develop what I assume is going to be some kind of theme or agenda for how these meetups go. Unless you already know you want it to just be whatever, people just come and hang out. But
it's not a secret. I would love to have a person give an actual talk, like a little Q&A about their work. Present how they.
That's what we had. There was a
20
DC group
minutes.
called Capital Area Photographers. They might still be kind of active, I'm not sure, but they had a couple of meetups that I attended, and they had me speak for 20-30 minutes with a little presentation on a projector, and then there were maybe drinks and some light snacks. People just kind of hang out, bring their new cameras or equipment or whatever, and just kind of shoot.
So the goal there's the baseline and the nice to have, right? So the baseline is going to meet at a coffee shop or something, right? A place where people won't feel weird showing up early, that it's okay for us to hang out a little longer after start, just while we're all getting, hi, I'm Daniel, get your name tags or whatever, have your moment, get your little coffees, and then take a photo walk, probably 1 to 2 hours, no more than 2 hours though. It depends on where we are, what we're doing, right? Hour-long photo
maybe
walk.
One. That's
Around the area. And then end at a place that has outdoor seating, nice place to hang out, whatever. So anyone that wants to hang out longer can. But the dream would be for that place to also be able to support a little presentation, a little chit chat, and a little like more formal thing that we can turn into. Look, I hate this content.
I hate that too. Trust me, I really do.
Everything you do is content. You are a content machine.
I did all of this before people like use the word content as a thing. Like content creator, when I started, especially on Patreon, wasn't what people called people that were doing that. They were just a photographer.
It turns out the label content creator was created by people to devalue the work of artists so they could pay less for it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay, therein lies maybe some of my resistance to it. I don't even know why. I've always felt an aversion towards saying like,
because you're not creating content, right? Like HBO screwed up this last week when they launched. Sorry, I apologize. Max screwed up this week when they launched Max. They dropped the HBO from the Max. It's a different app. It costs more money. Everything about this sucks. But they had
Why would they do that?
They had under the credits for the credits of the movie, right? So like you click through and you're on the info page of whatever movie you're about to watch, like Martin Scorsese movies, right? It just has creators and then like Leonardo DiCaprio, whoever, Martin Scorsese. It doesn't break them out by director, writer, editor.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a huge screw up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, sorry, that was our bad. We'll fix it." But like,
so they did get some pushback. Okay.
Oh yeah, huge pushback, and like it's going to cost the 4 studios so much money because this is happening during the WGA strike. That also for the record, stand with writers. We are a pro-union podcast. 3 cheers for the WGA. Drawing the line in the sand at AI creation for movies. We are so blessed to have them, and like the like the Directors Guild and the what's the other one there, the Actors Guild, all 3 of them released a statement that was like, yo, HBO, that's bullshit, man, and like got huge pushback. Another one of the main unions is about to authorize the strike, so we're about to have concurrent strikes against the studios, and like that little screw up by HBO / Time Warner / whoever the hell. It's going to cost so much money in those negotiations, and I love that. I love it.
That's
Anyway, so that's why you don't like content creator, because it's not a real thing.
Thank you.
Anyway, that's
so
our
lame.
Right. Like one of the things that I'm going to be creating some content around for our little Instagram push.
Let's just call them assets. I like calling them assets.
Yeah. Okay. As my asset, like as I value. Create an asset. The idea is, you can just be a photographer, right? Like we've talked about this before, that like it's bullshit that you have to become a video editor and a dancer and a public speaker and a blogger to like get anyone to see your photo, right? Like it's nonsense.
Well, that's the great trick also that a lot of people who are just photographers kind of fall for. It's somebody actually is an amazingly talented, gifted dancer, but you think that they're an amazing photographer, and they're not. It's just they got you in with the dancing, and their niche, their target audience is photographers because they saw an opportunity or they do take good enough photos. Dancing is a silly one, but this is largely my issue with a lot of people on YouTube is, they are highly tuned into maybe like technical aspects of things on the software side, or just really good at making engaging, high quality video work. But when you actually look at their photography as a standalone asset, it's quite poor or generic and not of much interest. And I just, at the core, do you want to be, I don't know, I'm just very selfish about what I expose myself to in terms of like ideas and other people's thoughts that enter my head. Once I realized that like I had a week where maybe 5 hours every day I had a podcast on, and it was affecting my mental acuity in a negative way because I hadn't had my own unique thought in a week. I flipped that ship right around and made sure I was very selfish with, if I'm going to pay attention to somebody, and especially if they're in the realm of doing photography, I'm going to love their photography first. Then I'll hear everything else they have to say, even if they're not completely up to date, or they get something wrong from a technical aspect, or in whatever they're talking about. It doesn't matter. That flaw, though it may be incorrect, still informs somehow their end result in their process of photography. So it's worth paying attention to, I think. I don't know if I made sense with all of that, but
no, it did.
Okay.
I got you.
Yeah.
You should make sure that someone you're learning from is good at the thing you're trying to learn from them,
and not just good
at presenting it, right?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
I see that a lot also with like keynote talks, where like people will be weeping at the story that somebody effortlessly and beautifully talked about, and it's like, there's place and room in life to just have somebody pull emotions out of you that can feel nice in a way, and make you think about
Grey's
things.
Anatomy.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Why is that coming up? That's weird. I heard something about that yesterday in the cab here. Is there something happening with Grey's Anatomy?
I mean, it's nearing its 20th season. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Longest running late night soap,
they must be doing a
maybe?
big marketing campaign for it to randomly come up 2 days in a row out of nowhere for me. They must be like ramping up some marketing. Anyway,
yeah,
I remember
I'm an insider from ABC, Sam.
Yes.
They're paying me. I'm influencing.
I was wondering how much money am I missing out on this podcast?
Yeah.
For that drop.
They sent me $5.
But really, like when you look at somebody's actual work as a photographer, how many of those types of people do you really want to expose yourself to? If you have a dozen people in a conference lineup and they all kind of have that approach, but their work at the end of the day is poor or just not very notable, that's a problem, because clients don't care about any of that. Like if you actually want to make money from it, I mean, that's always been my perspective. So you have to keep that in mind. A lot of people don't care about making money from photography. That's totally fine. And you'll probably have a very different opinion. But yeah, at the end of the day, clients don't really care how good of a YouTuber you are if your photos suck from their wedding that they paid for you to shoot. That's what it comes down to for me. Yeah.
I think one of the
I pick on YouTube a lot, but it's only because it's the biggest and easiest one. This could apply to anybody who. Well, YouTube
is having a rough go right now. The CEO that got put in semi recently at YouTube is like wrecking the creator economy, right? Like subscribe, the having subscribers doesn't really mean anything anymore. The algorithm, like, it's a vanity number. The algorithm pushes a ton of stuff. They're going hard on shorts because TikTok is eating their lunch on shorts, so they're like comparing long form YouTube video and treating the shorts as the same as that. So it's like screwing with people's algorithm. I did notice a nudge
when I was uploading a video, and they were like, "Hey, just so you know, videos that are longer than like 5 minutes typically don't perform well, so consider re-editing." I was like, "What the fuck?" Jesus! Like 2 years ago, they said the exact opposite thing. And anyway,
so like annoying. it's a really rough time to be a YouTuber. Like a lot of YouTubers I care about, like movie critics or media critics, or like that are not just explicitly here to be like, I'm here to teach you how to do a thing, but like, hey, do you want to talk for 30 minutes about Bad Boys 2 or like Legend of Zelda or whatever, right? Like some in-depth media piece about a thing. They're all struggling, right? Like their Patreon is dwindling because they're not getting new members, because they're not getting exposed in the algorithm, even though they have 1 million subscribers or whatever. And I think one of the things that's been like really frustrating over the last few years, as we have like spread out where we're supposed to upload our assets. Nice. I love that. Whew, no content here. Assets. We're starting a trend here. We are asset creators. Yeah. Is like there's no direct route to becoming a thing anymore, right? On the internet, there's no like, okay, I want to be a photographer, cool, I'm going to join this photography website, right? Like, you can't just become a photographer by joining Glass anymore. You can't, or Instagram, or Flickr. There's no direct route for getting known and getting notoriety on the internet. There's no direct route for like easy followable steps in the way that there was with Web 2.0, right? With like anything that happened after like 2001 or 2003, like there's a very direct route of, this is how you get money, or this is how you get eyeballs, right? Like the woman, Jessica Heish, the woman who did the Glass logo and G. She's a letterer out of San Francisco. She's exceptional. She's incredibly well known. She's old friends with Tom from when they both lived in San Francisco, and like, just she fixes logos as well as draws her own. She's a letterer. She's just I cannot express how good she is at her job as an illustrator and letterer. But she also came up during a time that was like really, she posted a letter a day. She drew a letter a day for a year. And like, that's a huge undertaking. It was a huge project, and it was a huge success. It was awesome. Like, to be clear, she was great. But someone doing that now, right? Like, you're not going to gain enough of a platform or enough of a following that you can build a career off of doing a photo a day project, right? Like, that's just not how the eyeballs are spread too thin across everywhere, that it's a lot harder to like grow a following or grow a platform that will be sustainable.
Yeah.
And all of these, so now, before it was like, okay, you could upload to YouTube and just become a YouTuber who does a thing, and then you sell the thing, right? But like, now you have to sell the thing on YouTube and on TikTok and on Instagram, and
know how to like perfectly optimize it with the proper thumbnail and SEO,
right,
so that it's
for each one, and all of them are changing differently and worse, right?
Yeah, it's like too much.
Everyone last year, at the end of last year, had their budgets for the year approved for going hard on social video again. Like, Instagram's not prioritizing photos, no more photos. We're doing all of our asset creation is going to be Reels, let's go. And then, like, second week of January, they're like, actually, carousel photos are what perform now. But like, good luck changing your budget or your media plan that's planned out 6 to 12 months in advance, right? Like,
interesting. Yeah.
And so it's like, how do like, that's just the one, right? Like, Google sucks now. Like, Google is searching.
Oh my God. Yeah. Just plug for DuckDuckGo. The search results from there are almost always
cheers for DuckDuckGo.
Way superior. It's always exactly what I want at the top. And I don't remember the last time I saw an ad. I'm sure they have some ad somewhere on there, but it's, yeah.
And you're not
Google's
being
now got like
relentlessly
4.
tracked across every platform by DuckDuckGo. Bless it. Yeah. Bless it so much. Right. So like, all of these things are like optimized to the point that they're broken, right? Like, once you started there, and then, it's like the frog boiling water thing of like, we have strayed so far from God's grace on the internet that like, now how do you build anything? And like, this isn't a rhetorical question. Like, this is a question I'm asking myself every week, right? Like, while I am wandering around here in Baltimore, having the time of my life, creating some of the best work I've ever made, I'm just like, how do I get someone to click a button that gives me $20 a year so they can have a nice time on the internet, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm like taking these like photos that are like rocking my world, and I'm like, I wonder if that headline is optimized.
Right. So that's something I am, because I am leaning a little more into the video side of things as a teaching medium, not because I'm enjoying it at all. I have like a backlog of things that I just know I'm never going to get around to editing, because right now I do everything myself. And so I was looking for a video editor, and it was notable to me that he had like a base package, not too expensive either. Base package of just like simple edits, blah blah blah, and then like a $100 add-on was like 3 variants of a perfectly tuned thumbnail. It's like, oh my God. The thumbnail
like,
is like what will make or break the success of something. That's crazy to me. Or at least initiate liftoff or not. Like,
right.
Crazy. Yeah, and this is something I remember hearing, I don't really follow his stuff at all, but he went on a bit of a media blitz a year ago. Mr. Beast was talking about his obsession with like cracking the code on YouTube algorithms so that he could be uber successful. And he did it, and he does it, and continues to do it, and figure it out, and it's insane. But to me, that's so bizarre.
Right, like we shouldn't all have to pretend to be Mr. Beast to make a living.
Everyone, not everyone, but I would say most people do kind of emulate the people at the top because they think that's how you get there.
Oh yeah,
but
I don't begrudge anyone who is starting a YouTube channel because they want to, right? But like, if you want to be a photographer, it's like really, frankly, fucked that you have to start 3 different accounts on 3 different platforms and learn 3 different mediums outside of the medium that you care about and have to practice to get any sort of notoriety or to be able to get picked up at a gallery or anything, right? Like, where are the spaces where we can just
This is exactly what I went through again with Patreon, was the early days of realizing, it's not just having the idea for something of value that I can share with people that are paying me for it. It's like most of the time, because there weren't any other photographers using it as a learning platform back then, most of my time was spent thinking about how I can promote the thing that I made. Like, that is where all my mental energy was going. I was like, is this best done as a snippet? Should I and it's just exhausting and not fun at all. Personally. If
you're not watching this on Sam's YouTube, but you are in fact listening to our beautiful voices over your headphones and just imagining this, you just missed the soul leaving my body. And you get I completely dissociated, as Sam said. I don't remember what word I was dissociated. But it was like, I agree with you. Everything's promoting. Yeah.
Most of my time and mental energy was figuring out how I have to promote. Don't say it again.
I heard you the first time, and it made my brain turn off.
And it's something people complain about to Patreon as a platform. It's like, hey, we have all this stuff, but nobody can find us. And Patreon has always kind of punted on that to say, it's not our job to build your audience for you. We're just hosting this stuff. But I do think they have a unique position to put the spotlight on up-and-coming people that have really good assets behind the scenes. Artists or people that create something that they're passionate about are almost by default really bad at business and wanting their, or not bragging, but like just sharing. Like Ryan Muirhead is a great example of this. Like, he just does really beautiful photos of really interesting people, and he's the last person that should be promoting his own work. Like, he really is. But these platforms kind of force you into that. I mean, it's why I guess a lot of super professional artists do get discovered and have like a manager to do that kind of stuff once you reach a certain level. But there are almost no photographers that are at a level like that anymore. It's just not how it is.
Right.
And, it's sad because
a friend asked me a couple of weeks ago how Glass was going. I was like, it's going good. We're like thriving. We are 2 years into our 4-year slog of like reaching full profitability, blah, blah, blah. Explain the whole thing. And they were like, cool, what happens if that doesn't work? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'll just become like a studio manager somewhere, right? Like I'll just
no,
but it's like,
I don't like when people ask things like that. I get that a lot as well. Is the like, what do you have next? What's coming next? I'm like, I didn't think I'd be doing a podcast here today with this is well, yeah, so happen. I mean, let's something is going to happen as long as you keep participating in the world. The problem is if you stop. Which sadly some people do. But
sometimes the world doesn't deserve my participation. I have changed enough for the algorithm. The algorithm should change for me. I mean, it does. That's literally its job. That's all the algorithm does. Shit. I just explained algorithm. All it does is change for me. Algorithm should stay the same so we can just like all show up and make our little arts and live our little lives and be full, beautiful people with our imperfections. Oh, man. What a time.
Well, I hope we haven't shifted. I feel like we started the conversation with you being quite optimistic and happy about your photography. And now you're like ready to stop participating in society.
I'm moving to the woods. No, I'm never moving again. I'm dying in this house. You heard it here first. Okay. You will hear it here repeatedly. I am dying in this house. No, that was great. I'm feeling great about photography, but I'm also not going to try to sell it. Or if I am, I'm going to be like, here's my little newspaper I printed. Here's my little, I'm not trying to make a living off of it. Oh God, let's talk about that next week. Okay, that's our topic. Well, no, I've been feeling the itch, man. I'm like, oh, this is really good. I'm having such a nice time. Maybe I should do a little freelance and maybe I'll shoot a portrait for someone for money or something. I'm like, oh, don't do that. Right? Like, absolutely don't do that. But also maybe.
I'm more than happy to hook you up with a press club event if you want to shoot like a panel of people speaking at a table.
Do you still have
Hold on, it's room service. Or it's the cleaning people.
We have run long today, and now we are running a little longer, so Sam can get towels.
Late checkout at 3.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Late checkout. That guy gets it. Late checkout is the greatest gift you can give yourself.
It's so great. 3 o'clock late checkout. It's great.
Checking out at 11 is unheard of. If you have reward systems or whatever are of a certain level of a spender at a hotel, they will give you as late as 3, but any hotel around the world will give you an extra hour if you ask for it. You just got to ask for it.
Yeah, people don't know. And also, in case people don't know, because I think a lot don't, you don't have to check out. You can just leave.
Yeah.
You just pack up your stuff and walk out. There's no waiting in line, having to give them your keys, none of that. You can just leave. I figured that out a long time ago.
It is beautiful.
And it's saved me a lot of hassle. I mean, the only exception is, I suppose, if you've had something from the minibar and you want to make sure it's calculated properly, but then they literally have to call the cleaning person to go up and check while you're standing there waiting. It's like, no.
Yeah, just do a chargeback.
Pro tip.
Just walk out and do a chargeback if they get it wrong.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful moments I've ever had in my traveling life was walking out, not checking out, just walking out, getting into the cab that was pulling up as I got there, taking the cab to the airport, getting out of the cab, walking through security, not standing in line through security, walking onto the plane, being the last person on the plane, taking my front row seat that I got upgraded to 1A, and then closing the door right behind me. I felt like a god.
It's like out of a movie. You should have made that a YouTube video.
Oh my god,
prime content.
I mean, Casey Neistat's probably made that video 7 times.
Yeah, and made $500,000 from it.
Well,
okay.
Next week we're diving into Daniel having the itch to do his art for money. Oh no, I hate this. Okay, well, I love you. Appreciate you, buddy. Adios, amigo.